Hey guys, welcome to the Empowered Empath. My name's Seraphim, and today I wanted to make a video about dream interpretation and how to interpret your own dreams. This is something I find particularly fascinating and also particularly useful. So I just wanted to share with you my own checklist that I use for myself when I'm trying to interpret my own dreams and figure out what the heck are they trying to tell me. And I hope that you'll find it useful too. Hey guys, welcome back. Today I wanted to offer you my 3-step guide to dream interpretation. This is something that I think it can be useful for all of us, and it's also just kind of a lot of fun. Dreams are pretty wild sometimes and pretty out there, and their meaning can be kind of difficult to suss out when the dreams are pretty out there. It's sometimes as well there's symbols and whatnot, and we may not necessarily know what that symbol's trying to tell us. And so today I wanted to provide you, like I say, just a quick 3-step guide for how to go through your dreams and really pull out the important pieces to get a sense for what is the message behind that dream. If there's a message, ultimately our dreams are either intuitive or there may be some spiritual message in the dream. Sometimes our dreams are just our subconscious working through the events of the day. And there's no deeper message necessarily, but that's not to say that there isn't insight that we can still take from those dreams. So that's why I wanted to offer you this little guide today, because regardless of whether or not it's intuitive or spiritual or even just our subconscious, there's value in interpreting what are the dreams that we're having telling us. What insight can we take from that? Even if it's just our subconscious working through something, it would serve us to know that. So Merlin has been meowing at me the entire time. If you've heard him meowing, I promise you he's okay. I'll include a little snippet of him at the end of the video so you know he's fine. He doesn't sound like he is though. The very first step when you're trying to interpret a dream is to start with, how did that dream make you feel? And look at that as a whole. So look at that from the big picture. When you woke up, how did you feel about the dream? Were you anxious? Were you happy? Were you scared? Were you sad? What were the emotions that you were left with as a result of that dream? When you take the dream as a whole, how does it make you feel? So you look at the emotion piece, and then also the dream itself. What was the texture of that dream? This is a very open question. So it's simply a matter of not necessarily the emotions, but how did the experience of having that dream feel? This can seem like a really strange question, but the reason you ask yourself this is because dreams that are intuitive, dreams that contain some sort of message from our higher self, very often will have a different texture than a regular dream. A regular dream can feel, very disconnected, very confusing. You can go 100 different places. Things don't have to make sense in a dream, and that's okay. But they will have a particular feel. There's a mundane aspect to our everyday dreams. Our dreams are very much our subconscious trying to work through what's happened throughout that particular day. So dreams serve a function. They serve a purpose psychologically. They also can serve a purpose spiritually. And so it's important, first of all, to determine, is there an element of intuition or spiritual guidance in this dream or not? And very often you can tell just based on the texture of the dream. I use the word texture for lack of a better way to describe that, but it's not an emotion. It's how it feels to experience the dream itself. It's how the dream feels. Sometimes if there's an intuitive, for me anyway, whenever there's an intuitive message or a spiritual message in a dream, it always carries a particular feeling or resonance. I can tell. And that comes from experience. That comes from practicing, from paying attention, from doing the dream interpretation and just being aware, right? So the more that you can pay attention to how your dreams feel in the body, the more you're going to get a sense for whether or not it's just a run-of-the-mill dream or whether or not there's actual intuition or some kind of spiritual guidance encoded in that dream. So first and foremost, you want to ask yourself that question. How does it feel? How did the dream feel? 1, emotionally, and 2, physically or in the body or the texture of the dream itself. And that's going to be a little different for each and every one of us, but that's something that pretty much everyone experiences. There's a different kind of feeling when a dream has a particular message. There's a different kind of texture or weight to the dream. Density is maybe a good way to describe that. And it may feel a little bit different for each of us, but there are telltale signs in the body, in the emotional body, that let you know this dream is different. Pay attention. So start tuning into that, and just the more that you pay attention, the more you're going to be able to feel the differences in those types of dreams. And it eventually becomes quite obvious. Just with practice, and the more and more you do it, the more obvious that's going to become. So don't get discouraged if at first you're going, well, they just all feel like the same. They all feel like weird dreams, weird regular dreams. That's okay too. Frankly, just because not every dream is intuitive and not every dream has spiritual guidance doesn't mean that those dreams aren't valuable. It is important for us to work through what happened throughout the day, for our subconscious to work through that. Very often, this is how we come up with epiphanies and solutions without even realizing we've been working on the problem the whole time. It's just kind of in the back of our mind. So there's a value, regardless whether it's an intuitive dream or not. There's value in doing the interpretation and trying to figure out what's really going on internally. This is a great way to get some insight into how you may be feeling about certain situations. So step 1, how did the dream make you feel? How did the dream itself feel? Step 2, what stuck out to you in the dream? This is the next thing you want to do. You want to make note or just pay attention to what was the most obvious aspects of the dream, or what were the most obvious aspects of the dream, pardon. This might be symbols. There may be some very clear symbolism going on in the dream. So pay attention to any symbols. It may also be experiences that you have in the dream and how those experiences made you feel. It may have to do with certain people who show up in the dream. It could be the most seemingly strange thing. Maybe it's just an object that keeps coming back in the dream, right? Or that keeps coming back throughout various dreams throughout the night. Pay attention. Anything that sticks out to you, you want to make note of that. And the next question is, how did those things make you feel? So did you feel good about this thing? Did you feel bad about this thing? Did it make you anxious? Just make note of it. You don't have to have any answers yet. The part of dream interpretation is just asking yourself a lot of questions and allowing the insight to come. And the answers, the picture, the tapestry will put itself together as you go through that process. So what stuck out to you in the dream, and how did those things make you feel? Step 3 is to take a look at all the things that stuck out to you. So the symbols, maybe people, maybe situations, any of the things that really stuck out to you in the dream. You've already asked yourself, how did they make you feel? Now you want to ask yourself, what do these things represent to you? So for example, symbols. We'll start with symbols. That's a great one. Symbols have the meaning that we associate to that symbol, and they also have their own universal meanings. So to give you an example, a crow's a good example, because a crow, depending on what culture you are speaking to, may have different meanings. In some cultures, crows are a wonderful omen. And in other cultures, crows can be considered a very bad omen or a bad sign. They can be an indicator of something tragic coming in or something bad is about to happen. Yet in other cultures, they are messengers of the afterlife. And in yet other cultures, they are, like I say, an omen of positive messages or positive things coming in. Now, you also want to look at crows themselves. What are the characteristics of crows? Crows are very intelligent animals. They have robust social structures and rituals. They're incredibly resourceful. They can remember faces. They can mimic sounds like dogs barking or people speaking, much like parrots can. They have a smaller vocabulary, but they can mimic other sounds very, very well. It's uncanny. Crows are very interesting. And so you look at the characteristics of a crow. You look at the symbols, the symbology of a crow across different cultures. And then you think about, what does a crow symbolize to me? And what resonates with me when I look at all of these interpretations of what does a crow actually symbolize? What does it mean to me? What resonates with me? What makes sense in the context of the dream as well for this crow to be symbolizing? So you want to take all of that into consideration. And what makes sense? Just ask yourself that question. What makes sense and what resonates with you? What relates to certain aspects of your life as well? Can you find any areas in your life where it may serve you to take on some characteristics of a crow? Or are there aspects in your life where maybe you're already demonstrating some of the aspects of a crow, but in a negative way? And that's where you have to look at what's the context of the symbol in your dream. Did the symbol make you feel good? Did it make you feel bad? That's going to help you determine what's the message behind that symbol. How did it make you feel? And how does it relate to what's going on in your life now? So I used the crow as an example, but let's take something a little closer to home. Let's say one of your family members is in your dream. Maybe they're acting really out of character in the dream. How does that make you feel? And if they're acting out of character, then what is their typical character? How does all of that make you feel? And does any of that relate to something that's going on in your life now? Ask yourself those questions. Very often, you are going to find that there are some very clear parallels between what's happening in your dream, why that person's coming in or that particular symbol, and what's going on in your life right now. And it's all going to relate. And that's going to help you really determine what's the message. Finally, I also want to make note, so I'm checking my notes here. Situations are another thing that can come up. So you may encounter a situation in your dream and you're going, well, what is this situation trying to tell me about my life? Again, how does that situation make you feel? Is there any situation in your life now that's making you feel that way? Or are there situations in your life now that are parallel to the situation in your dream? If that's the case, was there any solution offered in the dream? Perhaps you're being given a solution here. So you really want to keep your heart and your mind open. But this is the next step that you want to take, is to look at the symbols and ask yourself, or the symbols or the things that stuck out to you, what do those things represent? What is the symbolism behind those things? What do they represent to you personally? What do those symbols mean to you? Only you know that. And then what is the wider accepted meaning of those symbols? And when you're looking at the wider accepted meaning, you have to vet that through what resonates and what doesn't, and what makes sense in the context of your life and what doesn't. So there is some discernment that's required here. But again, with practice, you're going to be able to hone this, and it's going to get a lot easier over time. If you're not sure what a particular symbol means conventionally, or what the most common interpretation of a symbol is, that's okay. Look it up. I have to do this. I don't have them all memorized, that's for sure. Some of them are very obvious, but also as you do that, you're going to be learning, right? So you're going to be creating kind of your own internal library of what some of these symbols mean conventionally. So do a quick search, have a look, and then, like I say, vet that through what resonates with you and what makes sense in the dream, and eliminate that which doesn't make sense and that which doesn't resonate with you. And this is going to take some practice and some really, learning how to be very honest with yourself and with what truly resonates and what doesn't. Sometimes our emotions can creep in here and can make that a little bit more challenging, but you'll come to trust yourself. You'll come to learn what feels true and what feels like maybe you're deceiving yourself, or maybe just don't want to accept that maybe that's true. But all of this is a practice in honing your intuition and honing really that true sense of self-reflection. This is a great practice. I really think dream interpretation has a lot of benefits, not just what the dream has to tell us, but also, like I say, practicing this will help you hone your intuition and also help you practice that inner dialogue and practice self-awareness. So I hope that helps you to go through, vet your own dreams, interpret your own dreams, or at least get a better sense of what they may be trying to tell you, what insight your dreams may be trying to offer you. And I'd love to hear your experiences. I'd love to hear if this helps you at all. Please tell me in the comments. If you don't find it useful at all, you can tell me that too. I got thick skin. But I really wanted to offer this to you because it's something that I really enjoy. Dream interpretation I find so, like I say, interesting, super fascinating on a spiritual and a psychological level. And those two aspects of self, spiritual and psychological, very much work together. They're, I think, part of the same picture. And so interpreting your dreams can really help you get a better understanding of what's working for you in your life, what isn't, where you maybe need to make changes, what's bringing you anxiety, what's bringing you joy. So there's a lot of insight that can be gleaned from our dreams if we start paying attention. And the more we engage with something, the more that thing engages with us, the more we hone that ability as well, or that skill, or what have you. And so the more you focus your attention on the dreams, the more robust your dream life is likely to become, or at least the more you remember your dreams. That takes practice as well. Many of us forget our dreams as soon as we wake up. And it's the dreams that really stick with us that we want to figure out, what is this dream telling me? Why will it not leave me alone? I woke up and this dream has been dogging me all day. What does it mean? And so I hope this little checklist can help you figure that out for yourself. And also maybe help your friends. This is something you can totally do with your friends as well. Exchange dream interpretations. Sometimes it's way easier to interpret someone else's dreams, especially when you know what's going on in their lives, because you can say, oh, well, wouldn't that relate to this thing that's going on for you? And sometimes it's easier to see that for someone else than it is to see for ourselves. So that's another little tip that I would offer, is exchange dream interpretations with your friends, because you can really get some neat insight that way. And sometimes they can see things that we can't. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Blessings to everyone. I hope you found this helpful. If so, all the things, share with your friends, whatever. I'm pretty chill about this channel these days. So I just appreciate you watching. I hope that you found it helpful. And I hope you'll let me know in the comments if you did. And I'd love to hear your experiences, of course. Also, if you are interested in my practice, you can visit tarotbyseraphim.ca to learn a bit more about what I do and the modalities that I use and all that good stuff. Otherwise, blessings to everyone. I hope you all stay well, and I'll see you in the future in some video sometime. Bye for now. Merlin, come here. You got to make a cameo. Come here, my boy. You just meowing? You don't want to come say hi now? Oh, you're laying by your bowl. You can just come with me and you can see how my poor boy is very, very neglected. Let me show you. Oh, you're starving? You starving? Did Mama not feed you since this morning? Did I not feed you since this morning? Look at the mess you made. You made such a mess. Now you got all purse? Promise, he's got it pretty good. Yeah.